Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today we're diving into one of the most talked about moments from the recent Olympics, the controversial women's 66-kilo boxing match between Algeria's Imane Khelif and Italy's Angela Carini. This bout raised a lot of eyebrows, and for good reason. Let's break down what happened and why it's sparking such intense debate. In this match, Khelif, who stands at 5'10", faced off against Carini. Even though she's only 2 inches taller, Khelif's physical dominance was clear from the start. Her longer reach and greater power quickly became apparent, especially after she landed 2 powerful punches that forced Carini to stop the fight. Carini had no choice but to leave the ring in tears, clearly overwhelmed by the physical mismatch. But what made this fight so one-sided? The answer lies in a controversial ruling by the International Boxing Association, or IBA. According to the IBA, Khelif isn't recognized as a woman. Back in 2023, Khelif, along with Taiwan's Lin Yuting, was disqualified from the World Boxing Championships for failing to meet the eligibility criteria for women's competition. But this wasn't about testosterone levels. It was based on a confidential test that revealed both athletes have XY chromosomes. The IBA, which is led by Russians, stated bluntly that DNA tests showed some athletes were pretending to be women. Khelif initially appealed the decision but later withdrew, making the ruling final. This revelation has led to a heated discussion about the fairness and integrity of women's sports. Now, the Olympics operate under different rules. The International Olympic Committee, or IOC, doesn't recognize the IBA due to governance issues. As a result, the IOC applies its own rules, which classify athletes based on their legal documents, like passports. According to the IOC, Khelif is recognized as a woman and has been competing in women's sports for years. Classifying someone's sex by their passport might work for travel, but in physical sports, it's a lot more complicated. Khelif, who isn't considered female by some scientific standards, competed in a female category. The IOC has tried to separate this issue from the broader debate about trans women in sports, but it's almost impossible to ignore the connection. The core question is this: how should we define sex in sports? By chromosomes, hormone levels, or legal documents? What happened in Paris challenges the idea that sex doesn't matter in sports, especially when it comes to physical strength and safety. Some argue that strict sex categories enforce outdated stereotypes about women's weakness. The ACLU claims that excluding trans women hurts all women by inviting invasive gender policing. Others suggest that women's sports categories were originally created by men to limit women's opportunities. There's also the argument that sex differences in sports should be viewed like any other form of biological variation. For instance, Michael Phelps's unique wingspan is celebrated, so why shouldn't other variations be treated the same? Journalist Jonathan Liu even suggested it could be inspiring if trans women dominated women's sports. However, despite having XY chromosomes, Khelif hasn't dominated women's boxing. She was defeated in the quarterfinals of the Tokyo Olympics. Analyst Steve Bunce noted that Khelif isn't a particularly powerful puncher, implying that Carini might have won if she'd continued fighting. But this issue isn't just about winning. Including XY athletes in women's sports can mean excluding XX athletes, and, in contact sports, it also raises serious safety concerns. Studies show that male athletes generally have greater strength and muscle mass, which increases the risk of injury to female athletes. Carini's decision to stop the fight was about her safety. Boxing is inherently dangerous, but there's a significant difference between being punched by another woman and being punched by someone with male-level strength. This difference is often overlooked by those who want to eliminate sex categories in sports. Some may not be concerned with the practical implications for women's sports, possibly viewing them as less serious. But for the athletes involved, it's a matter of fairness and safety. Women's bodies are capable of much more than historically believed. With fair access to training and competition, women have made tremendous progress. But comparing women's achievements directly to men's can be misleading and unfair. Mixing sexes in sports often results in mediocre men outshining exceptional women simply due to physical strength. The failure to protect women's sports is a tragedy for female athletes and undermines the integrity of the competition. The controversy surrounding Khelif and Carini's fight highlights the complexity of this issue. There are no easy answers, but it's crucial that we find a way to ensure fairness and safety for all athletes involved. This debate is far from over, and it's something that will continue to shape the future of sports. Thanks for watching. If you found this discussion interesting, make sure to give us a thumbs up, leave a comment below, and subscribe to our channel for more interesting updates.